On this week's episode of the Footy Wrap Up, I dissect how bad this injury list problem is for Richmond. Does Fremantle and St Kilda have the same problem? And why am I keeping a lid on my own team's current form right now? And also in the NRL, with their win over the Melbourne Storm in Melbourne, one of the hardest things to do in the NRL nowadays. Should we consider having Cronulla Sharks as a serious Premiership contender? Plus, also injuries and suspensions, and also I will be revealing my content plans for the upcoming NRL Magic Round. Yes, the AFL had its turn. Now it's the NRL's turn. So yeah. Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. Welcome to another episode of the BD Footy Wrap Up. Wrap up, of course, to dissect what has been, what was another great weekend. It's gonna be even better for me. This is the last Footy Wrap Up I'll do. Do on the at least on the AFL side of things, at least for a bit, because basically I'm going to focus on my content. So the next episode will be all focused on Magic Round and what happened in Magic Round. So that's what happened there. So later in the video, I will be revealing my content plans for that. And plus, also, speaking of Gather Round, I might maybe do a bit of catch-up content, because I've got a hell of a lot of catching up to do, not just with that, but with a hell of a lot of content as well. So watch out for those. So let's get straight into this episode. Let's start off with the woes down at Richmond, and it stands far beyond their 15-goal loss to the Western Bulldogs on Saturday night. And it stems from an article which was published on AFL.com.au about yesterday as I'm recording this, and of course it's about their injury list, so to speak. Now, it's just ridiculous. I know. There was West Coast the last few years, but I wonder if that bug has bit Richmond, and not a way for Adam Uze to begin his first season as an AFL coach with this amount of players injured. If I were to guess, how many? I want to check out here how many players are on. How many players? Here we go. Final list. Let's go. Richmond. They had 36 players. I wonder. I would love to know. I would love to know how many of those players have experienced injuries between pre-season this year and right now. If I were to estimate, probably about close to between 80 to 90% of the list has experienced an injury or two. So yeah, so pretty much. So this is. So I will basically. So this is the current, injury list right now. For all you Richmond fans, please please press mute on your phone or your laptop, wherever you're watching this on, because it's not great reading. Well, for other teams, just grab a popcorn, grab a beverage of your choice, and listen to me bubbling on about these injuries. Here we go. Liam Baker, whose future has been at Richmond's been questioned in the past. Caught leg. He's gonna face a test this week. Sam Banks, concussion. Not confirmed when he's gonna be back at this time. Seth Campbell, knee injury, same thing. We don't know when he's going to be back. Judson Clark, ACL injury, out for the season. Mate Kalina, back injury, long term. Leah Fourquet, I've said the name twice, so I'm trying not to say the actual word, but anyways. Back injury, again, back injury, again, long term. Josh Gibcus, ACL, again, ACL, again, season. Jack Graham, hamstring injury. We don't know when he's going to be back. Grimes, Dill Grimes, who was managed last week, probably look at the game against the Dogs. Probably they should have considered the idea of maybe putting him as a sub or something like that, because they needed him out there. He's going to be tested this week. Oliver Hayes Brown, a Category B rookie playing in the VAFA right now, who I think is also injured at this point as well. Jacob Hopper, for freak's sake, can't even freaking speak. Out for 2 weeks. Jacob Kazitsky, one of their recruits, ankle injury. We don't know when he's going to return. Tom Lynch, hamstring injury, out for another 6 to 8 weeks. Morris Verrilli Jr. suffered a syndesmosis injury on Saturday night. We don't know when he's going to return. Jack Ross, foot injury, 6 to 8 weeks. Tyler Sonsi, wrist injury. We don't know when he's going to be back as well. Tim Taranto, wrist injury, and out for another 4 to 6 weeks. James Teresi, concussion. We don't know when he's going to be back as well. That is that. And yeah, so it's just unbelievable here. As I'm gonna charge my laptop here, because it's screaming at me on my screen to basically charge it. Here we go. So it is. The list is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. That like so many of them are. So like there's 1, 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of those players on that injury timeline list that I've just read out are either out for the season, out long term, or their timelines are unclear. 11. Yes, that's that. You did guess that. You did hear me say that right. 11 players. I mean, yeah, and it's just insane. Then again, they still got some decent players who are the 26 that are currently fit right now. For example, you still got Nick Voston, you got James Shaw that's still fit, Daniel Rioli. You got the big two in Shea Bolton and Dustin Martin. Of course, your Dion Prestia, Toby Dan Kurbis, Camden McIntosh. Just to name those. They still got guns that are fit, but there's a lot of good players who are also out of the side as well with injury. So
what is immediately wrong? There has to be something with their conditioning. It has to be because they didn't, because I don't remember them having these sort of injury, this long of an injury list. I don't think last season. I know Tom Lynch, he was out for most of the last season. I know that, but I don't remember anybody else that was on the injury list last season that are on this year. I don't remember, but it's absolutely ridiculous here, where you can actually you can almost actually field an entire field of injuries here of 18 here. I mean, you got just go on to AFL.com.au, go and find it, and you'll be amazed by what was going on. Credit to Sarah Black, who made this article, by the way, on AFL.com.au. It is a decent read. I highly recommend you reading it. But yeah, I'm not. I know. I may have drunk a few jugs of claret before recording this video. Before I can say this, I'm not giving up hope on Richmond yet, because very quickly we saw with GWS last season how things can turn. How things can turn now. But that hope is running out fast. I've got to be honest, it's running out fast, and to the point where I'm starting to be close to considering maybe putting them in 6th pre-season was probably not the best idea of that. But to be fair, I wasn't expecting them to have this massive injury list pre-season. So you got to let me have it. But anyways, so that's So it's going to be a massive amount of it's going to cause a massive amount of problems with Richmond, and we don't know what that's gonna play out, because it's a really and it's I mean, it just has to have something to do with their conditioning. The conditioning group. Let's put it that way. It has to have something to do with that. I mean, even if you look at their fit 22. I mean, Dusty even experienced injuries during the early part of the year. Prestia has as well. I think Jaden Short experienced it too. I think Daniel Rioli, as well. No, not him. Somebody else, Noah Cumberland, I think. He's also injured, so experienced an injury. Who's fit right now as well. But Tyler Young as well, McIntosh, all that, Sanson Ryan as well. All those guys. That's why I'm saying that my prediction, my thing is that it's close to 80 to 90% of Richmond's list has experienced an injury this season. But to end this topic off here, it is pretty bad, and we don't know how bad it's going to be for them, especially when Essendon's going to be versing them on Dreamtime, and they're not going to have any players. So pretty much, on that front. Moving on to two teams that struggled to a certain degree, failed to win their separate matches this week, and that was Fremantle and St Kilda.
underliningly, the question ask ourselves: Do both teams, do both coaches, and Justin Longmuir and Ross Lyon both have the same problem, which is scoring. I think for me, like, I think for me, both of them are basically have the capable. Obviously, Fremantle are obviously top five, top four, even second best defensive team in the league outside of Melbourne. And then same too with St Kilda for the last 12 to 18 months, ever since Ross took over as St Kilda coach. Have been great defensively, but the problem is they can't score. They both teams can't score. Now, on the Fremantle thing, I made the worst decision. One of the worst decisions of the year so far for me was I decided to watch the Fremantle Sydney game over the Fremantle Sydney shithouse of a game, rather than watching all the Geelong Port Adelaide thriller. It was and at halftime their score was like 2 goals 12, I think it was, for Fremantle. They really did. I watched the game. I watched all the first quarter, and they really had all the ball. The ball was mostly camped in their forward 50. Yet they couldn't score. They couldn't score, and the same thing happens to St Kilda. So it's gone to the stage where for both of these teams, where if you score, let's say 60, 70 points plus in a game against both of these sides, even just under 60 points, you get a win because they can't score. Simple as that. If I had to choose, I think for me, if I had to choose which forward line should I back more in Freo and the Saints, I would choose St Kilda, because they have Max King, they have Mitch Owens, of course they have Anthony Cavaminti. Who else is there? You got Higgins. Who else is there? Others as well. I mean, Sherman as well. Wilson. Excuse me. These type of guys in their forward line here that and also Tim Membry as well. Just forgot to mention him. That shows that they have the ability to, but of course they don't produce it, obviously, because obviously maybe it's something to do with the structuring from Ross. Is it the players? Are they bowling it long inside 50, which is not the aim of the game. You need to lower your eyes inside 50 more now these days. Is it that? I don't know, really. But I think Fremantle. I mean their forward line. Jai Amos, of course, he's only in his third season in the AFL. And he's already getting, obviously, the best defender every week. So obviously it's huge pressure on him. And then also the other forwards as well, like Michael Frederick. You got Tracy, who's improved dramatically as a forward this season. Of course, you still got the likes of Walters.
Walters in there as well. Who else is in there? Don't know yet, but if you compare both of them, I think St Kilda's forward line has more potential than Fremantle's, to be honest. Yet both sides can't score. I mean, it has to have something to do with method. It has something to do with game plan, all of the above, to be honest, on both counts. And yeah, so I think that's what I think in my opinion of that. And as I said, to end on this here, if you basically score like 60 plus points against one of these two sides, you're basically winning the game. You get to win the game because, quite simply, they can't score. So just to end that question, yes, I think Freo and the Saints do have the same problem. That is the lack of scoring. There's no problem with their defense. Not a problem there. Especially with Fremantle, but going forward and going to attack and scoring, that's a bit of an issue. So that's possibly going to be something that needs to be rectified over the course of the second half of the season, really, for both sides if they want to challenge for finals again in this season. And finally, speaking of challenging, let's move on to, of course, the one that obviously we're all talking about. Well, not all talking about, and that is the current form of my boys, the Essendon Football Club. So obviously, going back to Gather Round, where we had that insipid performance against Port Adelaide, where I'm glad that everyone agreed with me on everybody in the AFL landscape agreed, in my opinion, that the Essendon edge is basically, you know, fighting it out to the very end and all this sort of stuff, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that in Gather Round. Since then, it's improved dramatically. I mean, of course, they had the big win over the Bulldogs, which surprised me considering that. As I said in that episode, that they were only like 2 goals up in the early stage of the last quarter. Within 15 minutes later, the gap had opened up to about nearly 8 goals. So that's how ridiculous it was. It was. Then you had Anzac Day, which was I'm gonna still say it was a deserving draw. Both Essendon had opportunities to win the game. Collingwood had opportunities to win the game. They didn't take them. It was a deserving draw at the end of the day. Even before that, let me just pull up the fixture list now of Essendon. Here we go. So then basically, then you had before that, between those two games, you had the 3-point win over Adelaide, which we could have and should have lost that game. Fortunately enough, because of Sammy Draper diving on the ball, then we got over the line in that game. And then the week before that, you had the game against West Coast where it seemed like a game both where we were in front a lot of times in the game where we would basically look like we would pull away to a decisive margin, but at the same time, West Coast just did not want to go away without a fight, and basically they close to within 6 points. I was close to thinking, don't tell me we're gonna lose to this side. Don't tell me. But we didn't. We ended up losing. We ended up winning that by a goal. And then this weekend, which I thought, I still think no chance. But I always thought, because this is something I noticed
watching Essendon games over the last fortnight, over the last 3 to 4 weeks since Gather Round, and that, ever since that performance against the Bulldogs, was we would have periods where we were on top in terms of our pressure rating from witnessing with my own 2 eyes was off the charts, and then basically we do this way for about 10-15 minutes, and then for about another 10 minutes we lapse and we let players and we let the opponents back into the game. And then basically we shift gears and we get momentum at the right time. For example, case with the West Coast Adelaide game, where we end up getting the big momentum shift at the right time, and just as when it shifts back to their way, too late, we aren't winning the game. But I thought to myself, if they could sustain that pressure for not all game, but for most of the game, then they can topple GWS. And lo and behold, they did by 20 points, which means that they're 6 wins. There's 6 wins, 2 losses, and a draw from their 9 games, with North Melbourne, Richmond, Gold Coast, and Carlton to go before their mid-season bye. And then after their mid-season bye, they got West Coast at home in round 15. So out of those games, which is 2, 4, 5, I think we're favourites in 4 of those. We're favourites in 4 of those. I don't know about the Carlton game, but the real test for me is the round 13 game against against Carlton, and then the round 16 game, and then the 3 games in round 16, 17, from round 16 to 18, where we verse Geelong, Collingwood, and Melbourne, in those 3 games, is gonna be the ones where we're gonna absolutely where that's the true test. If we're true finals contenders, so we have to win big games like the Carlton game or the Geelong game, where if like for example with that Geelong game, if we want to be serious finals contenders, and we show that everything's different this time around, everything's different compared to the last freaking 20 years that this club has not won a final for. And because for the last how many years now, for 2019, 2020, 21, 22, and 23, the last 5 years, let's be honest here, Geelong have bullied us for the last 5 years. Geelong have bullied us for the last 5 years, if there's any time to showcase that things have changed in that club, it's then. It is then. But anyways, but that's the long term. But that's for the future. That's for the future there. But really with matches against maybe favourites of 2 of those matches. 50-50 for the Gold Coast one, because we all know how their record is currently. I think they've won all their matches. The Suns have won all their matches at home on the Gold Coast this season so far. That one's probably 50-50, but Richmond and North Melbourne, we are definitely going to be forgoing the favourites in all 3 of those games. Mostly because they're 17th and 18th. But for me, at least, why I'm keeping a lid on things is every time I always think, oh, we're going quite well here. We're going very, very well here. every single time it just goes and I get let down. So, and I did the same thing last year. Everyone was saying, oh, Essendon's actually a good side. Essendon's a good side for most of the year. Oh, Essendon's a good side. And I started to believe them more and more and more throughout the season, and then the letdown happened. And I was like, no. So basically, that's all I'm keeping. I'm not like someone like a Dan Gorringe who basically every time Carlton wins now, he goes, oh, the lid's off, and then when Carlton loses, go, shit. It's like lid's off, lid's back on again, and then they win again. Oh, lid's back off. Yeah, I'm not that sort of person. I'm not that confident in my own club because basically because us Essendon fans have been treated to a lot of letdowns over the last 20 years. And I hope that this one's not the latest. Hopefully. But yeah, so basically, yeah, and I even said to myself at this point after the final siren, I was like, gee, a lot of us Essendon fans are going to have nosebleeds because we haven't been this high in a long time. This late in the season, yeah. I mean, yeah. We might, as I said, we might as well buy tissues in supermarkets for a lot of boxes of tissues for our freaking noses because it's gonna be bleeding for the entire week because basically our club is basically up that high, but yeah. So currently, like I'm that's why I'm really keeping a lid on things because eventually, if I do agree to everyone that's saying, oh, Essendon's a good side, eventually that letdown will happen. So yeah, and also to have a lot of, and also thinking at the players as well, like. There's a lot of players that are currently in form on all three lines, and you got Harry Mackay, who's been probably the recruit of the year. Many people doubted, why him on this load of money? I think we pay him around $800K a year for him. And he's definitely been worth every cent throughout his first matches. Incidentally enough, he has played now in 6 wins, which is close to the most amount of wins. And fun fact as well, if Essendon do win on Sunday afternoon against North Melbourne, it equals his win tally when he was at North Melbourne after 10 games. He had that. He got that 7 wins in North Melbourne in 60 to 70 odd games. There you go. That's it. There you go. So yeah, and North Melbourne are feeling sorry that they let him go. Now, of course, their key backstocks have been depleted this season. Let's put it that way. I've noticed a lot of others that have returned to form. I've noticed Laverty's returned to form a bit. Who else is there? McGrath as well. He's definitely slotted in well into the leadership group. I think him as a leader him in that leadership group has made him a better player, to be honest. Redmond, who I've noticed in recent weeks, he's starting to get back to the form that he was throughout most of 2023. I think the latter half of last season and the first half of this season, he's not been the player that he was. But now, obviously, he's now starting to do that as well. And also, by the way, the defense is going decent at the moment. And they don't have, and they have Jordan Ridley to come back in the next fortnight from his quad injury, which he suffered in pre-season. So yeah, and then the midfield, of course, how many names can I mention? I mean, you got Durham in there, you got Caldwell, you got the skipper Merritt,
who's not only getting a lot of the ball, getting some lever points, but he's also apparently good around goals. Apparently, which is we haven't seen him do that much in recent times. And then obviously Dersman showing signs until he got injured. I mean, in the ruck, you got Goldie, basically leaving out Draper. My mullet brother, out of the side most of the time, and he's been a better performed ruckman than Draper has, and he's and I hope that we get at least another year out of him. Hope we get another year out of Goldstein. Because I think that's more, and then after the year, that second year where he maybe decides to retire, hopefully we keep him as a ruck coach. I don't know if that's me. Don't know if we have one of those. But I think that he would help out massively with Draper, and of course Nick Bryan as well, who's another up and coming ruckman we got in our ranks as well. And then of course the forward line, of course we've got the package, Dave Stringer, we got 2 meter Peter, we got the everywhere man Kyle Langford, who surprisingly enough is 4th in the Coleman medal tally with 24 goals, and basically he's already halved his tally from last season with 51 goals. He's already halfway there, and we're not even halfway through the season yet, which is pretty surprising, pretty bonkers, really, to think that he's already halfway towards his tally of goals from last season. And then obviously you got Perkins as well, who's basically more of a midfielder that basically also goes forward. You got Guelph in there who's improved. You got Harry Jones who's also improved. The one thing that I'm concerned about, and I saw some highlights of Jaden Davey play in the VFL, and I hope over the course of this season that he does make his debut, and hopefully he does play alongside his brother Alan Jr. because those two together, I would love to see those two just run amok, run an absolute muck, especially Jaden. I mean, the skills that he possesses is just absolutely unbelievable at this point. So basically, if you think about it here, and then also a credit to Brad Scott as well, who which was revealed on, as I'm recording this on a Tuesday, last night's episode of Footy Classified. Lloydie mentioned that a key member of Essendon's staff told him that Brad Scott was angry after the loss against GWS, where we got smashed by 130 odd, by 100. When we got smashed by 20, by what was it, 100? What was it? What, 22 goals? We got smashed by 22 goals. He was angry after that because he thought that the season in 2023 was okay. Then that loss happened, and then of course we got smashed by Collingwood of all teams the very next week, and it made him angry. Because obviously he thought that the team was going okay, and then this happened. It's like, what a way to end a crummy year, but crummy way to end the year like that. So you can see why I'm, keeping a lid on Essendon's form right now. Everyone's saying finals. Even someone like Lee Matthews had said on Footy Furnace on Sunday night he said it potentially go all the way. I thought, oh, calm it down. I know Lethal is a legend when it comes to AFL football. That is pretty bold what he said that Essendon could potentially go all the way. But is it me? Is it my fear of the letdown happening? I don't know, but I don't know, but yeah, so you can see why I'm clearly, very, very clearly, keeping a lid on Essendon's current form, because obviously next few weeks, we get versus North Melbourne and Richmond, who are 17th and 18th and 17th. So yeah, so not going to help our cause one bit at all there. Moving on to the NRL, obviously, and the team that has taken the season by storm in the early part of the year, is the team coming out of Shark Park, and that is the Cronulla Sharks, who are currently right now on top of the ladder. We top of the ladder, and their premiership credentials was not tarnished one bit when they caused a massive, well, you could say a massive upset, beating the Melbourne Storm at Amy Park, which is it's one thing to go over there, another thing is to win over there against the Storm, and they did it, winning it with a field goal and then scoring a try conversion late on there, which was, which was I think the scoreline here. Let me try and see the scoreline here. Yeah, 25 to 18. So yeah, but yeah, so pretty much, yeah. So surely has that enhanced more for the Sharks premiership? Should we consider them seriously being a premiership contender? Definitely. I think definitely so. In my opinion, I think that's. So they've won. So they're currently right now, as I'm looking at the ladder now, they've only lost one. So they're currently 8-1 with one bye to their name, which I'm trying to think where was that loss. Who was that loss to? Oh yeah, I remember now. It was to the West Tigers. They got smashed by the West Tigers in that game. But other than that, they're currently right now on a 6-game winning streak heading into Magic Round. And the next 2 weeks are going to be very testing for the Sharks. They got the Roosters in Magic Round, and then the heavyweight clash with the 3-time reigning premiers, the Penrith Panthers, at Shark Park, at that game at Shark Park on a Saturday night. So it's definitely going to be, and most likely that game's going to be a top of the table clash, most likely, if the Sharks do end up winning this game against the Roosters this weekend. So out of that, and looking at their team as well, if I know their players, here we go, and they've got a lot of players, got a lot of decent-ish players as well. Like obviously the biggest one, quite obviously, is Nico Hines. Obviously the main one. But of course you got Ronaldo Militano. You got the likes. You got the likes of Dale Finucane in his final season. As well, you got lots of Kafusi. Katoa, so on. So basically the only big name there, mainly if you think about it, in that squad is basically Hines, and that's it. And he'll probably most likely be considered for Origin selection for Game 1, which is can't believe that's coming around again, State of Origin time. Anyways, but for that side to basically be 8-1 after basically 8-1 heading into Magic Round, and most likely of going 9-1 heading into the heavyweight clash against the Panthers. That is going to be these two matches. These next 2 weeks are going to be the serious test for the Sharks, and I am going to be watching watching it. Obviously, I'm going to be watching all of Magic Round, obviously, but I might maybe tune into that game. Might maybe tune into that match, the Sharks and the Panthers in a couple of weeks' time, possibly, possibly. But yeah, I think if to round this off, I think if you have if you win a match in Melbourne against the Storm, you're definitely going to be considered the Premiership contender. So I think we should now start. I think after if they win both this week and then next week, then definitely they should be considered extremely serious Premiership contenders. Let's put it that way. Let's be fair there on that front. So yeah. Moving on to the injuries on the injury front. So firstly, let's move on to the AFL. Of course, going alphabetical order for AFL. So on the Adelaide Crows, their young defender in Josh Worrell had surgery yesterday, as I'm recording this, on his left arm after what was described as a pretty serious fracture. And will be out of action for up to 8 to 12 for estimated 8 to 12 weeks. Over at Carlton, of course, they have a trio a duo that is back on the injury list and one that's on the injury list for the first time this season. Adam Chera, Matty Cottrell, and David Cunningham all suffered hamstring, foot, and calf injuries respectively, which means that they will be out be on the sidelines for a short period of time. Pies duo Jeremy Howe and Jamie High Flying Elliott are both set to miss multiple weeks with groin and vascular injuries respectively. Essendon duo. It's the main important here. Duos, let's put it that way. Sam Draper and Xavier Dersma will also miss multiple weeks with knee and groin injuries respectively. A big blow for Geelong in their big match against the Gold Coast Suns over in Darwin. With their star forward Jeremy Cameron, he got concussed during the Cats' loss to Port Adelaide down at the Cattery, and is entered into the 12-day concussion protocols. And they're also they're set to manage Tom Hawkins too. So both of the big two key forwards power forwards they have, then are not going to play against the Gold Coast Suns over in Darwin. So yeah. The Giants, they're set to lose. They will lose both Lockie Ash and Josh Kelly for both up to 6 weeks with calf injuries. Melbourne duo Jacob Van Rooyen and Daniel Turner are set to miss multiple weeks with concussion and calf injuries respectively. North Melbourne young gun Colby McKercher suffered a foot injury during the game against the Gold Coast Suns over in Darwin, and it's unclear how long he will be out for. Bad news to make matters better, but in consolation for him, you end up winning the Rising Star nomination. So a bit of a consolation for North fans really on that front. I did say about Richmond's injury list. I said so about Maurice Rioli. He suffered late in the game against the Dogs. He suffered a syndesmosis injury, which will keep him out for up to 8 to 10 weeks. A double injury blow for West Coast. I did say in the last episode about Noah Long. He's been sent in for surgery on a PCL injury, which unfortunately will end prematurely his 2024 season. So unfortunate for him. And to make matters worse for them, Jack Petrocelli suffered only a minor syndesmosis injury, which will keep me out for a short period of time, estimated 1 to 3 weeks. And in sad news, obviously, Bulldogs draftee Aidan O'Driscoll sadly was medically forced to retire after a very significant concussion in the preseason. During the preseason. So pretty sad there on that front. But the NRL injuries on the NRL front, of course, Sydney Roosters centre Joey Manu is set to miss Magic Round with a head knock, which was graded as a Grade 1 concussion, which means he'll enter into the concussion protocols. New Zealand Warriors trio Roger Tuspashlik, Rocco Berry, and of course one of the best playmakers in the league in Sean Johnson are set to miss several weeks with hamstring, hand, and pectoral injuries respectively. Gold Coast Titans trio AJ Brimson, Kieran Foran, and Harley Smith Shields are all going to be out for Magic Round with groin, hamstring, and pectoral injuries respectively. The Penrith Panthers duo Liam Henry and one of the best players going around right now in Nathan Cleary, both will be out of Magic Round with a hamstring tear and concussion respectively. I think Nathan Cleary is going to be out for up to 8 weeks with that hamstring tear as well. So big blow for the Panthers. As well, as I said, they got an upcoming match with the ladder leaders in the Sharks coming up after this one. Newcastle Knights 5'8" Tyson Gamble will this week undergo surgery on his fractured foot, which he suffered on the weekend. Broncos hooker Billy Walters re-aggravated a wrist injury and will miss Magic Round, but he's scheduled to return a week after Magic Round. So only a week out for him. And finally, Manly Seagulls duo, crucial duo, in fact, in Tom Trbojevic and Jason Sabe, will be unavailable for Magic Round due to hamstring and an AC joint injury, respectively. For suspensions, of course, you got only one suspension out of the AFL, and that was of Hawthorn defender Jack Scrimshaw. He was suspended for 1 match for rough conduct. For the NRL, there was 3 suspensions during the course of the weekend, with Roosters halfback Sandon Smith suspended for 1 match for a grade 2 dangerous contact. West Tigers second rower Isaiah Papali was suspended for a grade 2 dangerous contact, which actually was a tripping incident, which he suspended for 1 match for that. And finally, Knights prop Daniel Salafiti was suspended for 1 match for a grade 2 careless high tackle. So yeah, and there was a case in the judiciary with Harry Grant with this dangerous charge, I think it was, which that was thrown out. So yeah, no problems with that as well. So yeah. Finally, so now let's get to my content plans for Magic Round, and also planning on a bit of a catch up, or a bit of a content catch up from AFL Gather Round a few weeks back. So yeah, so these are the plans now. So these are the plans. So on Wednesday, which I'll try and get this episode out tomorrow, as I'm recording this on a Tuesday night. I'll hopefully get that out in time. And also I'll be doing a preview of not only the whole of Magic Round, but also a preview of the first game of the Women's State of Origin. Yes, that's right. I will be hopefully I will be watching the Women's State of Origin. Obviously, yeah. That's but yeah, and then on Friday and on Thursday I might do some AFL Gather Round match review videos just to catch up on those a bit, and then on Friday, when I have some free time on me, I will be doing the I will review the Women's State of Origin game 1 on Saturday. Now on Saturday I will be reviewing both the games on the Friday night, which is Canberra Canberra Raiders versus Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, and then the second game will be Manly Seagulls and the Brisbane Broncos. On Sunday, I'll be reviewing, trying to review, get out all 3 of those games, which is a part of Super Saturday. Of course, the Titans and Titans, Knights, Sharks and Roosters, which I'm looking forward to that one most definitely, and South Sydney and North Queensland, which for some reason that game is also on Channel 9. So I don't know why they would have swapped it around. So the big game between the Sharks and the Roosters would be the night game rather than Rabbitohs and Cowboys, because that has the potential of being an absolute blowout. But anyways, so I'll try and do those on Sunday, because I'm basically going to watch all Sunday as well. Then on Monday I will be reviewing all the 3 matches, obviously, in the New Zealand Warriors versus the Penrith Panthers, Storm Eels, and the West Tigers versus the Dolphins. And then next Tuesday I'll be doing a special NRL Magic Round edition of the wrap-up, of the Footy Wrap Up. So yeah, just like what I did with Gather Round, they'll basically be squarely focusing on the NRL at that point. So yeah, so pretty much So that's pretty much that. Really, I would presume that would be it for that. Really, but and then one final thing before I go. I couldn't resist obviously saying this, but obviously we all heard of the tragic news that came out of Western Australia with the passing of Cam McCarthy. It was pretty touching. Of course, the tributes from Fremantle and GWS. I mean, seeing Alex Pearce and Nat Fyfe, who were almost, who probably were of course obviously they were teammates of Cam McCarthy, but also probably were good mates with him as well. Then tearing up him in tears before the game, in the minute silence was a touching moment there, and then also for Essendon and GWS game for both sides to pay tribute to him as well. It was a touching tribute to him. Obviously, it's sad. Obviously that he was only he was only 27, 28, and he's died so young, and it just shows you, how it shows you, you can, shows you just like him, it go from these highs to highs to lows to lows. It just puts those things into perspective, really, in terms of mental health, and he had a long issue with mental health, obviously, to Cam McCarthy. So also, if you guys also know, I had my own experiences with mental health. If you have anybody, please, please just for me, the best idea was basically to just get help immediately. As I approach the end of the video, so as I said, like this video, share it to anybody who's obviously an Essendon fan like me, and also a Cronulla Sharks fan. Comment down below as well, as I mentioned about the Cam McCarthy story. Have you yourself been through mental health problems, or if you had a friend or a family member that suffered mental health issues? Of course, I shared my story back a few months ago as well, but obviously, the main thing is just have that talk, obviously, mentally, because we all know what the Frawleys had done after Danny Frawley, passed away a few years ago, and hopefully it's over in Western Australia. Hopefully something happens over there. Hopefully leads to people, talking about it. It leads to people to opening up about their mental health and that sort of stuff. So it would be very important there. And one last thing, somewhere down there, click on the big red button, which is labeled subscribe. That will really help out a lot. It will help out tremendously. But until the next episode, guys, I'll see you all later.